In a frozen land where war has ended but hate still lingers, a lone human faces an alien girl and her snarling beast blocking his path. Is it a warning? Or the start of something far greater? Stay with us till the end, because this story will shock you. If you love HFY Sci-Fi tales, make sure to hit subscribe, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring you more epic stories every day. The wind screamed across the frozen valley, carrying the smell of ash and iron. The war between humans and the alien tribes had ended months ago, but the land still looked wounded. Broken weapons lay buried in the snow. Half-burnt banners flapped weakly in the cold. It was a graveyard of silence and ghosts. A lone human soldier walked the trail. His name was Kale. His armor was cracked, his fur cloak torn, and his eyes hollow, from too many nights without rest. Every step crunched against the ice, each sound echoing louder than it should. He did not know if he was heading toward safety or deeper into enemy territory. He only knew one thing. If he stopped moving, the cold would finish him before any blade could. As the path narrowed between two black cliffs, Kale felt a sudden presence. He froze. Ahead, where the trail bent, a figure stepped into view. She was not human. An alien girl stood there, her silver hair falling like a sheet of moonlight over her shoulders. Her skin was pale with a faint shimmer, almost like frost under sunlight. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, sharp and unblinking. But what made Kale grip his weapon tighter was not her beauty. It was the beast beside her. The creature was massive, its fur bristling with frost, its fangs dripping cold mist. It snarled low, the sound vibrating through the frozen ground. Its claws dug into the snow, eager to leap. The girl raised her hand, and the beast stopped but did not calm. Its glowing eyes fixed on Kyle, promising death at the first wrong move. "You should not walk this path, human," the girl said. Her voice was cold but clear, echoing strangely against the cliffs. "Another step, and you will never walk again." Kale tightened his grip on his spear. His breath came out in thick clouds. "Why? Is it because of you? Or your beast?" The girl's expression did not change. "Because ahead lies death. My people have laid traps for any who try to cross. If you go further, your bones will freeze in the snow." Her words hung in the air, heavy with suspicion. Was this a warning, or a lie meant to stall him until more aliens arrived? Kyle's instincts screamed not to trust her. But the way her hand pressed against the beast's fur, the way her eyes shifted when she spoke, something in her tone carried truth, and also conflict. The beast stepped forward, letting out a roar that shook the ice from the cliffs. Kale flinched, but held his ground, his spear pointed forward, steady, though his heart raced. "Why warn me?" he asked. "Your people hate mine. You should let me die." For the first time, the girl's eyes flickered. A shadow of pain crossed her face, quickly hidden. She spoke softly, almost like a whisper against the howling wind. "Because not all enemies deserve death." Kale's jaw tightened. The war had taken too much from him, friends, brothers, hope. He had seen alien blades cut down human children. He had no reason to believe her. And yet, here she stood, blocking the path not with an army, but with a choice. The beast growled again, louder this time, its muscles trembling with restrained violence. It wanted blood. It wanted to tear the human apart. But still, it waited for her command. Kyle took a step back, snow crunching beneath his boots. "If what you say is true, then move aside. Let me leave this cursed trail." Her eyes hardened. "You cannot go back, you cannot go forward. If you want to live, you must follow me." Silence fell. Only the beast's breathing filled the air. Kyle stared at her, searching for deception. But all he saw was a strange, dangerous honesty. "Follow you?" His voice was sharp, almost bitter. "And walk straight into another trap?" The girl's lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. "Perhaps. Or perhaps I am the only reason you are still alive." Before Kale could answer, the beast lunged forward with terrifying speed. Its claws sliced the air, its jaws snapping wide. Kale lifted his spear in desperation, ready to strike, but the girl shouted, her voice cutting through the storm like lightning. Stop! The beast froze, its fangs inches from Kale's throat, hot mist washing over his face. His heart pounded. One wrong twitch, and it would all be over. Slowly, the creature pulled back, though its growl never ceased. The girl's hand remained firm on its fur, her gaze locked on Kale's, unblinking. "You see now," she said quietly. "Your life hangs by my word. Do you still doubt me?" Kale swallowed hard, his body tense, his breath ragged. He realized that in this frozen world, where war had left nothing but ruin, his fate had shifted into the hands of a stranger who was both enemy and savior, and in that moment he understood one thing. His story was no longer his alone. The trail was blocked. The war was not over, and the alien girl's warning was only the beginning. Kale's breath still came fast. The beast's hot mist clung to his skin and his heart refused to slow. He had fought in battles, faced enemy soldiers, but never had death stood so close and yet passed him by. His spear trembled in his grip. The alien girl lowered her hand from the beast's mane. The creature obeyed, though its glowing eyes never left Kale. It growled softly, as if promising the fight was not finished. She looked at Kale with an unreadable calm. "You live because I command it," she said. "But do not mistake mercy for weakness." Kale's voice was rough. "Then why not kill me? Your people would praise you." Her gaze flickered, almost like a storm behind her pale eyes. "Because praise is useless when it blinds the truth, and the truth is this: you will die without me." Kyle clenched his jaw. He hated the sound of those words, hated that some part of him believed them. The valley was full of traps, she had said. He had no map, no supplies left. Even if he escaped, her beast, he might not escape the land itself. He spat into the snow. "You expect me to follow an enemy? To trust a voice that lied to my kind and cut us down?" The girl's face hardened. "And you expect me to trust a man whose armies burned my villages?" She stepped closer, her cloak brushing against the ice. "Yet here we stand, enemies both, still breathing the same air. Perhaps the war is not as simple as you think." The beast growled louder, as if the tension between them seeped into its bones. Its claws scratched the frozen ground, impatient. Kyle raised his spear slightly, not toward her but toward the empty white behind them. "If I follow you, where do you lead me?" She turned her head, silver hair catching the weak light. "To safety, for now." Kyle narrowed his eyes. "And after?" Her answer was a whisper, sharp as frost. "After, we see who survives." The silence pressed heavy on him. She was not promising friendship, not even promising kindness, only survival. For a soldier with nothing left, perhaps that was enough. He took a slow step forward, his boots sinking into the snow. "If I follow, I keep my weapon." She gave the smallest nod. "Keep it, you will need it." The beast snarled, clearly unhappy with the human walking closer. But the girl placed her hand on its fur again, calming it with a word Kale did not. "Understand." The sound was soft, almost musical, but carried weight, like the command of someone born to be obeyed. They began walking. She led the way, her staff glowing faintly blue, guiding through hidden cracks in the ice. Kale followed at a careful distance, his eyes never leaving the beast's back. The trail twisted deeper into alien land. Kale noticed strange markings. On the cliffs, carved symbols glowing faintly with frost. He asked nothing, but his unease grew. Finally, he broke the silence. "What do they call you?" She glanced over her shoulder. "Why should my name matter to you?" "Because if I am to follow death itself, I want to know what it is called." Her lips curved slightly, not in warmth, but in challenge. "Lyra," she said, "and this beast you fear is Kor." The beast growled as if it had understood. Kale muttered, "Fitting." They walked further and the storm around them thickened. Snow whirled through the air, biting at their skin. The world was white and endless, and Kale began to wonder if she truly knew the way. At last she stopped. They stood before a wall of jagged ice tall as a fortress. Kyle frowned. A dead end? No, she said firmly. Her staff struck the ground, blue light pulsing outward. The ice trembled and a narrow passage cracked open, revealing a hidden trail beyond. Kyle's breath caught. Your people's magic. Lyra turned her gaze on him, cold as the storm. It is not for you to question, only to follow. As they stepped inside the narrow trail, the air grew heavier. Kale could feel the weight of unseen eyes. The beast growled low, uneasy. Then Lyra spoke, her voice softer now. Understand this, human. If you walk with me, you must obey every word I give. If you do not, you will not last an hour in my lands. Kale stopped walking, his spear still in hand. His voice was low but firm. And if I refuse? She turned, her pale face lit by the faint blue glow. The beast loomed behind her like a shadow of death. Then you die here. Now. The air hung silent. Kale felt the edge of her threat sharp and real. He knew she meant it. He let out a long breath, his body trembling with exhaustion and rage. But in the end, he nodded once. Lead the way, Lyra. Her eyes lingered on him for a long moment. Then, without another word, she turned and walked deeper into the frozen path. Kale followed, not knowing if he had chosen survival or a slower death. The hidden passage wound deeper into the cliffs, narrowing until the walls seemed to press in on all sides. Kale's boots crunched over frozen stone, every step echoing in the silence. He felt like a trespasser walking through the veins of the mountain itself. Lyra's staff glowed faintly, throwing sharp shadows against the walls. The beast core padded behind her like a living storm, its eyes flicking back to Kale now and then with hunger. At last, the path opened. They stepped into a vast, hollow chamber carved into the heart of the cliffs. Ice spikes hung like spears from the ceiling. A frozen river cut through the ground, its surface glowing faint blue from the magic flowing within it. Kale stopped short. They were not alone. Dozens of alien figures stood in a half circle. Their armor was strange, made of bone and ice, and their weapons curved like talons. Every eye fixed on Kale, burning with hatred. The air grew colder as whispers spread among them. One stepped forward, an elder with a jagged crown of frost across his head. His voice rumbled like cracking ice. Lyra, you dare bring a human here? Lyra held her staff higher, her tone steady. This one is under my word. He lives because I allow it. A ripple of anger passed through the crowd. Some hissed. Others bared their weapons. Kyle gripped his spear tighter, heart pounding. He knew one wrong move could end him. The elder snarled, "If he is to walk among us, then let the pack decide. Trial by fang, trial by blood." Kale frowned. Trial? Lyra's jaw tightened. She looked at him, her pale eyes unreadable. If you fail, they will kill you. If you succeed, they may allow you to live. For now. Before Kale could reply, the aliens began to chant. The walls shook with their voices deep and guttural. From the far side of the chamber, cages of ice cracked open. 3 beasts stepped out, smaller than Core but still massive, their bodies lean and deadly. Their breath steamed, their eyes burned with the same blue glow. They stalked across the frozen ground, claws clicking against the ice. The crowd roared. The trial had begun. Kyle felt his blood run cold. He had faced soldiers, not monsters. His grip on the spear tightened until his knuckles whitened. His instincts told him to run, but the ring of alien warriors blocked every exit. Lyra leaned close, her voice sharp and urgent. "Listen to me, human. Do not fight them as men fight. They will tear you apart. Watch them, learn them, survive them." Her words were like ice in his ears. He wanted to shout, to demand why she was doing this, but there was no time. The beasts were already circling him, growls echoing like thunder. The first lunged. Kale spun, spear flashing, the point grazing its shoulder. The creature howled but did not fall. Its brothers moved in, one from the left, one from behind. Kale ducked, rolling across the frozen ground as claws slashed where he had stood. The crowd cheered, their voices wild and cruel. His breath came fast, chest burning. He had to think. Soldiers trained for enemies with tactics, not wild fury. These beasts moved like a pack, fast, precise, testing him. They wanted weakness. They wanted fear. He forced himself to breathe slower, eyes darting between them. His spear shook in his hands, but his stance steadied. The second beast charged. Kyle sidestepped, driving his spear down. The weapon pierced its leg, and the creature screamed, stumbling to the ice. The crowd's roar turned into a sharp cry of surprise. The other two beasts didn't stop. They attacked together, one slamming into Kale's side, throwing him across the frozen ground. His spear clattered away. Pain tore through his ribs and blood touched his lips. The crowd roared again, certain of his end. Kyle's vision blurred. The third beast leapt at him, claws wide, but before it struck, Kor roared from the edge of the chamber. The massive beast's growl silenced the crowd, a sound so deep it shook the chamber itself. The trial beasts hesitated, their eyes flicking toward Lyra's companion. In that instant, Kyle rolled to his feet, snatching his spear. He lunged forward, ramming the tip into the nearest beast's throat. The creature collapsed in a spray of mist, its body twitching. The chamber fell silent. Only the sound of Kale's ragged breathing filled the air. Two beasts remained, circling cautiously now. The elder's voice thundered, "Finish it, or he dies." Kyle wiped blood from his mouth, his grip unbroken. His body screamed with pain, but something deeper held him upright. Rage, survival, the need to prove that even here, in the heart of enemy land, a human could not be broken so easily. The beasts lunged again, faster this time. Kale spun, parried one with his spear, and slammed the butt of it into the other's jaw. They staggered but did not fall. His chest heaved, arms trembling. From the crowd, Lyra's voice rose above the chaos. Not a command, but a warning. "Kale, look at their eyes. They test you. They wait for fear. Do not give it to them." Her words lit something inside him. He steadied his stance, his fear replaced by focus. The next charge came, and instead of retreating, Kale surged forward. His spear cut through the air, striking deep into the beast's chest. It shrieked and fell, shaking the ground. The last beast stood alone. It circled once, growled, then lowered its head. Slowly it backed away into the shadows. The trial was over. The crowd fell silent. For the first time, Kale felt their hatred waver. Some looked uneasy, others grudgingly impressed. The elder spoke, his tone dark. "He lives, for now." Kyle leaned on his spear, blood dripping onto the ice. He wanted to collapse, but he would not show weakness. He raised his head, meeting Lyra's eyes. She gave the faintest nod, approval or perhaps relief. But in Kale's chest, only one thought burned. He had survived. But at what cost? The chamber grew quiet after the trial. The bodies of two beasts lay still on the frozen floor, their blue eyes dimmed forever. The third had vanished into the shadows, leaving only silence and the faint hiss of cold wind through cracks in the cliffs. Kyle stood bleeding, leaning on his spear. His chest rose and fell in heavy gasps, each breath a struggle. Around him, alien warriors whispered. Their hatred had not vanished, but something had shifted. They had expected the human to die quickly, torn apart in front of them. Instead, he still stood, scarred but unbroken. That alone unsettled them. The elder's eyes burned with frost as he looked at Lyra. He has survived, but he does not belong here. His kind are enemies. If you shield him longer, the pack will turn on you as well. Lyra did not lower her staff. Her voice was firm, though her pale face was shadowed by tension. The pack will do as I command. His survival is proof enough. The spirits of the beasts chose not to kill him. The elder spat into the snow, his breath turning to mist. Then, his life rests with you, foolish girl. When he betrays you, as all humans do, the blood will be on your hands. The warriors dispersed slowly, muttering curses. Their glowing eyes lingered on Kyle, promising future violence. Finally, only Lyra, Kor, and Kyle remained in the vast chamber. Kyle wiped the blood from his lip, his voice hoarse. "You risked everything for me. Why?" Lyra turned from him, her cloak brushing against the icy floor. She began walking toward a small cavern at the chamber's edge. "Follow. You need rest. And answers." Kyle hesitated. His body screamed for rest, but his mind burned with questions. He limped after her, Kor following close behind like a shadow. The cavern was small and lit by glowing crystals embedded in the walls. A fire burned faintly in the center, though Kyle could not tell if it was true flame or some alien magic. He sank against the wall, exhaustion pulling at him. Lyra sat opposite him. She placed her staff beside her, its glow fading, leaving only the firelight between them. For the first time since meeting her, she looked less like an untouchable warrior, and more like someone carrying a weight too heavy for her shoulders. Kyle broke the silence. "Back there. You defended me against your people. You could have let them finish me." Her eyes flicked to him, cold but softer now. "I could have, but I did not." "Why?" he pressed. She lowered her gaze to the fire. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Because I know what it is to be hunted for no reason, but the blood in your veins." Kale frowned. "You? But you're one of them." Her hands tightened in her lap. "My mother was not." The words hung heavy in the air. Kyle straightened slightly, surprise breaking through his fatigue. Lyra continued, her tone edged with old wounds. "She was an outcast from another clan. They called her unpure. They mocked her, shunned her. When the war with your kind began, they blamed her blood for every loss. My family was slaughtered by my own people." Kyle's throat tightened. He had seen cruelty on battlefields, but hearing it from her lips cut deeper. "I survived because of Kor," she whispered, resting her hand on the beast's fur. The creature rumbled softly, almost like a purr. "He found me when I had nothing. Beasts do not care about bloodlines, only strength, only loyalty." Her eyes lifted, meeting Kale's. "So when I saw you on that trail, alone, broken, walking into death, I saw more than an enemy. I saw myself." Kale's heart pounded with an ache he hadn't expected. He wanted to argue, to remind her of all the humans her people had killed. But the firelight reflected in her eyes, and he saw no deception there. Only scars. He spoke quietly. "Then, why keep risking yourself now? If your people learn the truth, they'll turn on you again." Her jaw tightened. "They already doubt me. Saving you changes nothing. Perhaps I want to see if a human can be more than what they believe. Perhaps I want to know if my mother was right when she said enemies are only strangers we do not yet understand." Kale looked into the fire, his thoughts torn. Part of him still hated her kind. Part of him wanted to walk away. But another part, deeper, older, understood her words. He too had lost family, not to aliens, but to the madness of war. Maybe pain was the only language they both shared. For a moment, silence filled the cavern, broken only by the soft crackle of flame and the steady breathing of Kor. Then, from outside, a sudden cry shattered the calm. The echo of horns rang through. The cliffs, hunting horns. Lyra's eyes widened. She rose instantly, snatching up her staff. "They have found us." Kyle forced himself to his feet, gripping his spear though his arms ached. His body screamed in protest, but fear and instinct drove him. Kor growled, ears sharp, claws digging, into the ice. Lyra turned to Kale, her voice urgent. "If you want to live, you fight beside me now. Not as a human, not as an enemy, but as one of the pack." Outside, the sound of boots and snarling beasts grew closer. The cavern shook with their approach. Kyle tightened his grip, his jaw set. He gave her a single nod. "Then we fight." The hunting horns echoed through the cliffs, their sharp notes, piercing the cavern like icy knives. Kale and Lyra stood side by side, weapons ready, while Kor crouched low, muscles tense, his breath forming thick mist in the frozen air. The ground seemed to shake with the rhythm of boots and the growl of more beasts approaching. Kale's grip tightened on his spear. His body was battered from the trial, but adrenaline burned through his veins. He looked at Lyra, her pale hair catching the glow of her staff, her face a mask of calm determination. She was ready to die if needed. The first shadows appeared at the cavern's mouth, alien hunters in bone armor, their eyes glowing like shards of ice. Behind them padded two more beasts, lean and hungry, their jaws snapping at the chains that held them. The elder's voice carried into the chamber, heavy with authority. Lyra, you defy the pack, you shelter the human, you shame your blood. Step aside and we may forgive you. Resist, and you die with him. Kale expected her to hesitate, but she stepped forward instead, raising her staff defiantly. The blue light flared, painting her in fire and frost. He lives, she shouted, her voice ringing like steel against the storm. And if you want his blood, you must take mine first. The hunters roared in anger, charging into the cavern. Their beasts broke free, teeth bared, claws tearing into the ice. The fight began. Kale thrust his spear as the first warrior lunged. The weapon scraped against alien armor, but the force of his strike knocked the warrior back. Another came from the side, blade arcing toward Kale's throat. He ducked, spinning, the spear butt slamming into the attacker's chest. Pain shot through Kale's ribs, but he pushed forward, refusing to fall. Beside him, Lyra moved like a storm. Her staff glowed with blinding blue, crackling with energy. Every strike sent shockwaves through the cavern. One hunter fell, then another, their weapons shattering against her magic. Kor tore into the beasts with primal fury. His jaws snapped one's neck, tossing it aside like a rag doll. Blood sprayed across the ice, the sound of snarls and screams filling the air. But for every enemy that fell, more entered the cavern. Kale's arms grew heavy, his breath ragged, his vision blurred as a blade cut across his shoulder, hot pain searing him. He staggered, nearly falling. Then he saw Lyra stumble. A hunter's blade had pierced her side. She gasped, dropping to one knee, blood staining the ice beneath her. Kale's heart stopped. Without thinking, he surged forward, his spear piercing the attacker's chest. The alien fell with a scream, but more pressed in. Lyra collapsed against the wall, clutching her wound. Her staff flickered weakly. The hunters sensed her weakness and pushed harder. Kor roared, but he could not fight them all. One beast slammed into Kyle, throwing him across the cavern. His spear clattered away. The beast pinned him, jaws snapping, inches from his throat. He fought back with bare hands, holding its jaws open with everything he had. His arms trembled, his chest burned, his strength fading. The beast's fangs sank closer, hot breath washing over him. And then it happened. Kor. Lyra's beast let out a sound Kale had never heard before. A deep guttural roar that carried not only rage but recognition. The massive creature slammed into the beast, attacking Kyle, ripping it away with terrifying power. Kyle gasped for air, collapsing to his knees. He looked up and realized Kor was not just fighting for Lyra anymore. The beast's glowing eyes had fixed on him, protective, almost loyal. The hunters saw it too, and fear spread through their ranks. A human accepted by the beast? It was unheard of. Against their laws. Against their very blood. Lyra, still bleeding, forced herself upright, leaning on her staff. Her voice was weak but firm. Do you see now? He is not prey. He is pack. The elder's fury thundered from the entrance. Blasphemy! No human will ever be pack. He raised his weapon, stepping forward. Kyle, his body trembling but spirit unbroken, picked up his spear again. He stood between Lyra and the elder, his voice steady, despite the blood dripping from his wounds. Then kill me now, Kyle said. But know this, if I fall, it will not be as your enemy. It will be as one who fought beside her. The cavern went silent. Even the hunters paused, their blades hovering, uncertain. Lyra's eyes widened, her breath catching. She saw it in him, the choice he had made. Not just survival, not just fear. A decision born of loyalty. The elder's jaw tightened. His weapon trembled in his grip, torn between rage and doubt. And in that heavy silence, Cale realized something had shifted forever. He was no longer only a soldier, no longer only a survivor. He had made his choice. He would stand with Lyra, whatever it cost. The cavern was silent, broken only by the crackle of Lyra's weakening staff and the steady growl of Kor. Snowflakes drifted through the broken ceiling above, falling like ash onto blood-stained ice. Cale stood with his spear, battered and bleeding, but unshaken. Beside him, Lyra leaned heavily on her staff, her side soaked red. Kor prowled between them, his glowing eyes fixed on the hunters like twin lanterns of rage. The elder faced them, his weapon raised high. His voice thundered through the cavern. This ends now. No human walks our land, no beast betrays the pack, and no child of impurity defies our law. Kyle felt his chest burn with fury. He stepped forward, the spear shaking in his hands. "Then you are blind," he shouted. "Blind to the truth standing before you. She is stronger than your law. Her beast chose me, not because I am human, but because I fought, because I stood. And because I will not bend." His voice echoed into the cold. Some hunters shifted uneasily, their eyes flicking between the elder and the human. None had ever heard a human speak with such fire in this place. Lyra raised her, staff with what strength she had left. Her pale eyes blazed with light, and her voice rang clear, though pain laced every word. "You call me impurity, but I have seen purity in courage, not in blood. This human stood when your own would have fallen. Kor saw it. I saw it. And now, whether you will or not, you all see it too." The elder's face twisted with rage. He charged forward, his blade slicing through the air. Cale met him head-on. Their weapons clashed, the sound like thunder splitting the cavern. Sparks flew, ice cracked beneath their feet. Cale's muscles screamed, but his spirit burned hotter than the cold. The elder struck again and again, his strength overwhelming, but Cale refused to fall. Each blow pushed him back, yet each time he rose again. Blood dripped from his wounds, but his eyes never left the elder's. Then, at the moment Kyle faltered, the beast Kor lunged. With a roar that shook the mountain, Kor slammed into the elder, knocking him across the cavern. The weapon fell from the elder's hands, clattering against the ice. The hunters gasped. Some stepped back. For the first time, fear flickered in their eyes, not of Cale, but of Kor choosing him. The elder crawled to his knees, fury burning in his glare. "You betray us all," he hissed at Lyra. "You bring ruin to our people." Lyra's voice was steady. "No, I bring them truth." She lifted her staff, blue light bursting outward in a wave. The cavern walls shone as the glow touched every hunter. They shielded their eyes, but the light burned into them, showing what they did not want to see. A human, standing beside an alien, a beast loyal to both. When the light faded, silence followed. None raised their weapons. None moved to strike. The elder's scream broke the stillness. "Then you are no pack of mine." He staggered to his feet, retreating into the shadows beyond the cavern. His figure vanished, leaving only his echo behind. Slowly, the hunters lowered their blades. Some looked at Cale with confusion, others with reluctant respect. One by one, they stepped back into the cold darkness, disappearing into the snow. The battle was over. Cale dropped to one knee, his strength finally breaking. His spear clattered beside him. Lyra hurried forward, though her wound slowed her, and placed her hand on his shoulder. "You should not have stood for me," she whispered. Kyle met her eyes, his voice rough but steady. "I did not stand for you. I stood with you." Her lips trembled, and for a moment the cold warrior mask slipped away. She looked young, almost fragile, but her eyes carried fire, and in them Cale saw something more than survival. Kor pressed close to them both, lowering his great head until it touched Cale's arm. The bond was sealed. Outside, the storm began to fade. Through the cracks above, faint sunlight spilled into the cavern, warm and golden against the ice. Clara looked up, her voice low. The war between our people is not the true war. There is something greater beyond these mountains. A darkness rising. One that neither of us can face alone. Kyle's chest tightened. Then we fight it together. Her hand pressed lightly against his. Together, she whispered. The three of them, human, alien, and beast, stepped out of the cavern into the frozen world. The trail ahead was long, dangerous, uncertain. But it was theirs. And as Kale looked at Lyra beside him, her hair glowing in the new sun, he felt the truth. The war had ended one story, but what lay beyond it was only beginning.